Hello everybody! It's Nostradamus here with the first edition of Foreign Age News in 2021. And as you join me now at time of recording, it's just coming up, just coming up to 10 to midnight on the evening of Sunday, the 10th of January here in the UK. And as you can see, we've got 4 buoys in event mode. 3 on the west coast, on the Wandafuka, and 1's just lit up off the east coast of the United States. There's no significant wave heights in these are just small, tiny little blips. But there's been no earthquakes reported up to now. I think this may be significant that these 3 are right aligned down the Wandafuka fracture zone. So perhaps there has been an earthquake, but they don't want to mention it because of the real estate values of Washington, Oregon and California. In my previous video, I discussed buoy number 56001 going a bit bonkers. Well, on the 3rd of January, it went absolutely fucking bananas with over a 100-meter swing from top to bottom. If you look closely, it looks like a sort of fractal pattern, right? Where you got this little bump here, and then about half the amplitude, you get exactly the same shaped bump, and then again, a bit later, half the amplitude again, the same shape bump, and then it's been just back to normal ever since. I just wonder what could affect the readings in such a way. This is the HARP facility on the northwest cape of Australia. Another installation down here, and if you draw a straight line from the HARP installation, it passes right over buoy number 56001. It's just 130 miles. I've measured this. I've positioned everything accurately of the coordinates. So the centre beam straight over to central Java, and it's affected the buoy so much. And here we have Mount Marapi, which has just suddenly sprung into action, and there's serious alert and worries about this volcano. Is it connected? Is there a connection? This is the only buoy in the area. We'll have to watch and see what happens with Mount Marapi. Now, parts of this video I actually recorded last week, but I had terrible laptop problems. So fingers crossed it's gonna all go nice and smoothly tonight. But I've done a bit of splicing and dicing bits from what I recorded last week, but I've not yet put out on YouTube, and mixed in a bit of new stuff that's happened during the last 7 days. This is an update since before, and the buoy 5661 has continued to act strangely we might say. These are the readings from the 14th through to the 16th of January. All seem to be rather quiet at the moment, last time I checked. Here's the very latest on Mount Merapi volcano. Current status erupting, danger level 4 out of 5. It's got a growing lava dome with incandescent avalanches and pyroclastic flows ongoing. It's a steep stratovolcano north of central Java's capital, Yogyakarta. It's Indonesia's most active volcano. I think it could be getting ready for a big one. I do hope lots of you got to witness the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction a couple of weeks ago. A fabulous sight. They reckon in 7 BC it could explain the Star of Bethlehem. It's pretty amazing when you think about it, that Jesus was born 7 years before he came into being. What a true miracle. Now let's go over to null school. Ask any child in the UK at the moment what null school is, and they'll tell you that it's the total breakdown of the education system due to this stupid, pathetic lockdown. Null school for you tomorrow. Right, here we are looking at the polar vortex at the very top of the atmosphere at 10 hectopascals. And as you can see, I've highlighted the North Pole for you. And instead of it going round that way, it seems to be a little bit off kilter. Go down to 70 hectopascals. And you can see this sort of strange sort of pattern. Very strange. So I'm going to fast forward a few days and see what happens. As far as we can go, what they're predicting. Will it go another? I don't think that's it. Oh no. We go another one. Oh, that's it. Let's go back. This is for the. My computer keeps freezing up. Right, I forgot where I was now. Here we fast forward to the forecast for the 15th at 70 hectopascals, and as you can see, I'll just remove that. And we've got a really massive split in the polar vortex, and we've got quite a strong jet passing directly over or just to the side of the North Pole itself, up to the very height of tops of the atmosphere, and we've got this really messed up weather pattern which could create some really, really strange and extreme weather patterns over Europe, especially by the looks of it. But North America too, probably. Wow. Right, that was last week, and this is now on the 17th of January. And we can see how the upper polar vortex has evolved since then. And once again, I've highlighted where the North Pole is. Totally normal. That was at 10 hectopascals. Here we are looking at the same mess at 70 hectopascals. And this is the forecast how it's expected to look by the 22nd. And this is the corresponding polar view of the jet stream. This is a very recent graphic from the fantastic Zachary Laird, showing some very intriguing recent trends, if you can spot the patterns. And what it's showing is from 2020, we've had, this is showing air temperature ranked by month at 925 hectopascals in the Arctic above 70 degrees north latitude. And the summers are the warmest on record, almost the whole summer, month by month. But the winters seem to be getting colder. So we're getting hotter air temperatures in summer, but colder air temperatures in the winter. It does look as though the heat is winning out at the moment, but as long as there's still sea ice at the North Pole, there's always the chance that the cold could fight back. And indeed, there's a lot of extreme cold, snowy weather been going on at the moment. In Beijing, got down to -20, and in parts of northern China, got down into the -40s. Spain's just had record snowfall, and that system, Filipina, on its way through southern Europe, and I think the Balkans are going to be particularly hard hit in the next few days. And right at this minute, Taiwan's getting extremely unusual amounts of snow. So we'll see how it plays out. Does anybody want to hear my latest methane report? Oh, go on then. So now let's take a look at what's been happening in the past 3 weeks since my last update. This is for the atmosphere from 931 up to 300 millibars. And what I'd like to show you is a comparison between what happened from the peak last autumn winter up to this time last year, and what's been happening in the recent weeks. I've recorded the figures just this afternoon, the latest figures, and my average for this week is 1851.8. So after the huge drop in my last report, it continued to fall, and it's only just this week that it looks like it's turning the corner and starting to rise again. So it's reached its minimum of 1849.4. Compare that to the minimum last year, 1839.7, and that was at the end of December. So it's reached its minimum later this year than it did last year. My corresponding average for this time last year is 1844.3. So we're just showing 7.5 parts per billion higher. Just 7.5. This year the methane concentrations have dropped much more steeply than they did last year. NOAA has only recently released its methane figures for last September, and they're showing it at 13.3 parts per billion higher than the previous year. This figure differs only slightly from my own calculations, but between 11.2 and 12.2 parts per billion. This corresponds to September, higher than the previous year. The blue line is this year's concentrations, the red line is last year's, and as you can see, the decline in methane levels has continued for longer this year than it did last year. We was already on our way out of the minimum by this time last year, but we just seem to be coming out of our minimum right at the moment. And this shows up dramatically in this graph, showing the difference between this year and last year. Each point in time shows you just how much the methane levels have dropped in the atmosphere. This is NOAA's figure for September. As I've said before, I don't know how NOAA comes to its methane level numbers, but we run into a little bit of a problem when we're looking at just 300 millibars in particular on its own in the atmosphere, because during September I had the figures between 21.25 and 26.25 parts per billion higher than in September 2019. We did get up to 30.25. Oh no, it was higher than that. Right? 32.75 parts per billion higher just a couple of months ago during December, sorry, beginning of December, and then it fell down last week to just below 25 parts per billion difference, but now it's going up again, up to 28.5 this week. Looking at the higher elevations in the atmosphere from 477 all the way up to 151 millibars, we see that the concentrations have not yet quite reached their minimum and they're still on the way down. But the amount of decrease is slowing down dramatically now, and we can expect the levels to start rising any day soon. It has indeed dropped 17.5 parts per billion since the peak on the 19th of September. These are my averages, and my actual figure for this week is 1876.3, which showing that it is actually now starting to go up again. Now, last November, I made some projections based on different rates of increase of methane over the coming weeks to see where we would be come next November, and I fed the latest average into the Doomatron, and as you can see, those are my projections, and this is what's actually been happening. And methane has been falling so dramatically over the past 4 or 5 weeks. We're following a path way below my different projections. And if we plot this on my projection graph. This is the green lines showing last year's up till November, and this is starting off this November with my high, medium and low rate projections, and at the current rates of methane level in the atmosphere, it puts us right down here, which is about almost around about 30 parts per billion lower methane by next November compared to November just gone. Weird. And now for some breaking news. I would now like to present to you some screenshots I took on my phone during the week. And I want you to pay attention to this little greeny blue dot on the east coast of Greenland. I was on windy.com, and this is my way of methane hunting. And I look at the freezing altitude in the atmosphere. And this was at 2 o'clock on Wednesday the 13th. And let's go forward in time. And get to 4 o'clock, and we can see a greater expanse. And we go to 8 o'clock in Wednesday evening, and we've got a huge methane bubble. And at midnight, going into Thursday the 14th, and by 2 o'clock in the morning on the 14th, it's spread over this area. And because it's windy, it dissipated after that. This was the last image I took at 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday before it vanished. I wanted to validate my observations by looking at methane levels on cams, but there hasn't been any data at all this week. Isn't that funny? Just as I spot a methane bubble. They've only just put Wednesdays up, and you can't go and choose any other days. It's just got Wednesdays. So I'll check tomorrow to see if Thursday's up, and you can go and check yourself and see when they put Thursdays up to see if there's any signs of methane in eastern Greenland. But they'll probably just rub it out if there is. What a surprise! One thing that is up to date on cams, however, are the ozone levels. Yeah, Sunday the 17th. And it looks like there's really heavy concentrations of ozone in the atmosphere over the northern latitudes. I'm just wondering whether it's this ozone that's caused the methane levels to drop dramatically over the last few weeks. It may be that the new methane bubble is what's caused the turnaround in the change in methane levels. Here we are in the Japan Times. I need to catch up with the Times because this is from a couple of weeks ago. Fukushima nuclear debris removal to be delayed due to pandemic. A substance considered to be nuclear debris lies at the bottom of a reactor containment vessel of the Fukushima No. 1 nuclear power plant's No. 2 unit. Kyoto. Just switch over to Eco Watch. lethal levels of radiation found in damaged Fukushima reactor impacting its shutdown. In what Japanese regulators on Wednesday called an extremely serious development, lethal levels of radiation have been recorded inside the damaged reactor building at the Fukushima No. 1 nuclear power plant, threatening the shutdown and decommissioning of the site of the second worst peacetime nuclear disaster in history. Officials estimated radiation levels at 10 sieverts per hour, enough to kill a worker who spends just 1 hour in there. It's bad, innit? Tokyo Electric Power Company, the operator of the plant, announced December 24th that nuclear fuel debris removal would be postponed until 2022 or later due to the coronavirus panic. So that's great, isn't it? This is the logo for the Umbrella Corporation, which features in the highly popular film and video game franchise, where a lethal virus is released upon the world in a city called Raccoon City and turns everyone into zombies. This is the logo of a biotech company based in Shanghai. Did you know that raccoon and corona are anagrams of each other? Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. Now I enjoy mucking about with numbers. Now everybody's familiar with our decimal system, using the digits 0 through to 9, the 10 digits that we all use every day. And most people are familiar with the binary system, using just zeros and ones. But I like to look at the base 3 counting system, using just zeros, ones and twos. There's a very important date coming up very shortly that contains just zeros, ones and twos. It's the date of Joe Biden's inauguration. I'm now going to use a number-based converter on math.com, where you can change any base number to any other base number of your choosing. So we're going to choose from decimal, base 10, no, from base 3, trinary or ternary, whatever you want to call it, to decimal, base 10. And we're going to put in the 20th of the 1st, 2021. And it calculates 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Do, 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 do. Or we could put in, write the date in a different order and put 2021, the 20th of January, and calculate. Ooh, 1666. Spooky. Now a report from USA Today. Scientists say Earth is spinning faster than it has in decades. The Earth's 28 fastest days on record since 1960 all occurred in 2020. I guess that's when they first switched on their atomic clocks. The Earth's rotation can change slightly because of weather and ocean patterns. A negative leap second will be needed if the Earth's rotation rate increases further. Even the Earth wanted 2020 to be over in a hurry. Our planet spun faster than normal last year, scientists say. Usually the Earth is an excellent timekeeper. rotates once every 86,400 seconds. But it's not perfect. The Earth's rotation can change slightly because of the movements of its core, and also, surprisingly, because of weather and ocean patterns. Changes in the atmosphere, specifically atmospheric pressure around the world, and the motions of the winds that may be related to such climate signals as El Niño, are strong enough that their effect is observed in the Earth's rotation signal. David A. Salstein, an atmospheric scientist from Atmospheric and Environmental Research, said back in 2003. El Niño is a periodic natural warming of the tropical Pacific Ocean, while La Niña, which was observed towards the end of 2020, is a natural cooling of the same part of the Pacific. According to NOAA, while El Niño results in a decrease in the Earth's rotation rate, La Niña tends to have the opposite effect. Isn't that interesting? Also, I think the melting ice and the glaciers, redistribution of the mass on the surface of the planet also may be having an effect on the length of a day. So now we've got even less time to the end of our life on Earth. Right, before I go, to all sci-fi fans, I recommend that you all watch my favourite film of all time, Dark Star. I watched it again the other night. I chuckled for the whole hour and a half. It's actually available on YouTube. Some of you might even think it's funnier than Phone Age News. Make sure I'll leave the link below, and I'll also leave the link for the CAM's methane, so you can check it tomorrow to see if there's evidence of the bubble. And also, I'll leave a little link to one of my favourite tunes by 808 State, Manchester band. Make sure you watch Dark Star before the Earth goes into its final death spiral. And I'll see you all next time, if there is a next time. Thank you all very much for watching, and please do take care, look after yourselves. I hope everyone stays well. See ya, bye.